Hi, how's it going? So today I'm going to film a video sharing our favorite homeschool science resources, all nonfiction books. And yeah, so so how I selected these books was, first of all, I have 9 different publishers. So I have like 9 different publishers, and then the number 10 are a collection of different items I'm putting kind of in a group. So I have a little bit more than 10 things, but my goal was to pick 10 books from 10 different publishers. And then, like I said, the 10th category is kind of a mixed amount of different books from different publishers, and I'll explain why when I get there. So let me just say why I did it this way. So when it comes to nonfiction, I think for me, what has been the most helpful to find resources for any subject is looking by publisher. Because when you have a publisher that you like, because of the graphics, illustrations, obviously, every illustrator is going to be, different, but a lot of those publishers do have a certain style, and they do certain books that are very similar. So a lot of times when I'm at like bookstores, used bookstores, or any bookstores, or online, I will literally just search by a publisher if I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. But yet, it's like, say I want a book on, trees, but I don't want to have to sort through a million books on Amazon. I will first search by my favorite publishers, and that is this video. So I wanted to let you guys know that is my biggest thing I use as a resource, is searching by publisher, and that's why I'm sharing my favorite publishers today for science. And number 1, so my first publisher is Phaidon, P-H-A-I-D-O-N. They publish kids books and adults books, which is also very common for most of these publishers, but some only do kids. But they do a lot of artsy books, interesting books, and this is one book by them. It's called Extinct, an illustrated exploration of animals that have disappeared. It's really large. It probably won't fit in the camera. I'm trying to show as much of it as possible. We are using this book actually for 4th grade science. We're studying zoology. And we have a few books by this publisher, and those are all the books I pulled. Were books that we had multiple, if not a lot, of books by each publisher, but I couldn't show them all because that would be so long. So I just decided to pick one of my favorite books from that publisher. So this is my favorite book by Phaidon, Extinct. And I really like it. It has different sections, like this is Amazing Athletes, with all the different animals at the bottom, and then it has like a 2-page feature. Here's Swimmers, Big and Beautiful, and then it has like a reptile, so it has like all different options of their 2-page spreads. So that's my first science resource, and I'm going to link everything on Amazon. And then my second publisher is Storey, S-T-O-R-E-Y. Yeah, it's just like Storey, and it's just called Storey. I don't know if it was called Storey Publishing or, Storey Publishing. So this is Nature Anatomy by Julia Rothman. This book is very widely shown on a lot of people's different Instagrams and YouTubes and stuff like that, but yet it still is one of my favorite books. So for science, so I decided to include it in this video. And Storey, we have like 3 of these, the anatomy books by them. And so this is Nature Anatomy. What I like about this book by Julia Rothman is you could, in my opinion, make like a whole curriculum just based on this book. I think it stands alone. It's very interesting. It has stuff about, of course, nature, and then it has some stuff about space, which is, but it's not like just, like here's a really cool diagram, and then layers of the earth. Like, I love having her draw things like this or watercolor them from this book. We've done a lot of watercolors from this book. We've used this book a lot. The rock cycle, it's beautiful. So that's what I like about this book. Like, if you do your own curriculum or just using this as a reference, you could definitely use this book for science for probably a whole year. And that's what I really like about it. And the illustrations I really love. I think it's watercolor, and I love watercolor. Sometimes people do digital watercolor, so I'm not always sure, but whether it's hand done or digital. I really like it. And then the third publisher is Big Picture Press. And we have a lot of beautiful books by Big Picture Press. It was really hard to choose, but I chose this one. This is Bones, an inside look at the animal kingdom. And this book we're actually also using for 4th grade animal science, zoology with Blossom and Root. This book is probably one of my favorite covers that we own. Like, of all of our nonfiction books, it's raised alongside just being gorgeous. I love black. I love gold. It's beautiful. Like, I would love to display this book just to display it. And so this book also, I had the idea to kind of, like, in my opinion, you could use this book as a spine when you're studying animals, to study all about how their bones play into, you know, like what they do as an animal, like biting and then digging, grasping, holding weight, jumping, gliding, running, swimming. We're using this now just kind of like, I'm kind of just integrating a little bit in what we're doing in Blossom and Root, but I'd really like to focus more on this book. I think I'm going to have her read this book independently and do a nonfiction book report on it, because I really want her to read this whole book, and we just don't have the time. But that's how much I like it. I really love everything that it shows. It has like a 2-page spread on different like specific animals. And then it also has just like information, you know, of course, like I said, like it had in the beginning, like holding weight, just the significance of, you know, the parts of skeletons that do different things. And I really love it. It's beautiful. So that is the third book. And then the fourth publisher is Wide Eye. Wide Eye is one of my favorite publishers. So my next book is Kaleidoscope of Creatures by The Colors of Nature Explained by Wide Eye. So Wide Eye does a lot of beautiful books, and we have a lot of Wide Eye books. And this was also hard to choose. And this one is also from our 4th grade curriculum, which we're in now while I'm filming this video. But I had a lot of really pretty ones I bought this year. So I'm not showing them just because they're new, because I have shown these in previous videos. I'm showing them because they really are like my top favorites of this publisher, you know. So this is Wide Eye Kaleidoscope of Creatures. This is another book I think you can use as a spine just to study animals with. And this is another book we're kind of just like mixing in with our zoology study, but I really would like her to read this also front to back. So I think I'm going to assign this book also as a nonfiction book report, which she does approximately every month, depending on the book. And she'll look through it all, because we have looked at some of the pages, but again, we don't have the time, you know, because we're watching videos, we're like doing other things, other reading, and so we don't have the time to just go through these books. But that's why I picked these books, because pretty much all of the books I picked for this video are books that I think you can build your own curriculum off of, because I think it's a perfect amount of information. It's not overwhelming. I don't like books with too much information, and I want like more than like a picture book size, of course, but yeah. And then the next publisher is DK. So I'm sure almost every homeschooler has at least something by DK. They make so many books, like it's hard to keep up. You couldn't, like, I don't know, like DK publishes a lot of books, and so of course DK is one of my favorite. And I picked this one. It is Life Cycles, everything from start to finish. So DK, even though I really love their photography books, I'll be honest, like I don't find myself being drawn to them as much. The ones like the Eyewitness and even the Smithsonian ones, I almost feel have like an overwhelming amount of information at times. I think for me personally, I prefer the illustrated ones and the ones on like a singular topic, like this one. It's Life Cycles, and it has life cycles of so many different things. So this one, unlike the other ones I talked about, why I chose them, because I think they can be spines, this one is more of a book you can just grab for so many different subjects versus a spine, because it has too many different variety of topics. But I still love it, because when you're studying space, you can use it for the cycles. When you're studying earth science, you can get it out. When you're studying plants, you can get it out. When you're doing animals, you can get it out. And there's something about like a cycle of things that I find really interesting. They also make really good, like if you're gonna draw something, like they also make really good illustrations if you're gonna draw something inspired by, and almost everything has a cycle. And it's like, I never really thought of it. I mean, a lot of other books have like one page of this in it, but I like how this is just one book filled with like a bunch of different, cycles. Some are also like vertical, layouts, but most of them are just horizontal. Like this is the earthworm cycle, oak tree, orchid, spores to seeds, and then they have, some of them do have photographs, which I like when publishers, illustrators, editors mix, photography. I should say illustrator, not editors. I know sometimes editors take part in that, but it's mostly the illustrator. I like when illustrators mix photography and illustration. I find that's very engaging, and they did this in this book. Photography, and then you have the illustration of the volcano life cycle. So this book honestly is one of my favorite. Like it is my favorite DK book. That's why I picked it. It's the one that I find that I literally pull from the shelf the most for the past 2 years, because I think I got it in 3rd grade homeschool, and now we're in 4th grade. And again, it's just like a fun book for kids to just look at in general, but it also for me has been very helpful for homeschool, and I love it. Okay. The next publisher is Flying Eye Books. So Flying Eye has a lot of interesting books, and they're one of my favorite publishers, and this is one of my favorite space books that we own. It's probably a top 2. This is like definitely, I really like the one I'm about to show next to, but these are my top 2 space books that we own, and we've checked out a lot of space books from the library. We own quite a few. We did space units, etc. Okay. This is Professor Astrocat's Frontiers of Space by Flying Eye. So this book we did use as a spine pretty much. And I love these books. Astrocat, they have other ones. They have like space, and then they have like different space ones, and they have, I think, like the elements or the periodic table elements. And then they have the human body, which we also used that one as a unit study one year. And so I love these books because I think personally it has like a perfect amount of information to do a unit on. We literally read through this entire book. Like normally, we would not get to a whole, not normally, but not always do we get through a whole nonfiction book. But I really love these books because the illustrations are very engaging. It's like 60, with the glossary, it's like 63 pages, but it has not a lot of like words. It has like the perfect amount of words. As you see, it's like mostly illustrations. So you can easily, get through this entire book in, like a period that you're doing a unit. And I just love it. And yeah, I just really love them. And so I really love this, how we did the 2-page spread on each planet. And then of course we pulled in other books to like learn more about Jupiter and then all the planets. And yeah, love it. So that is the next one. And then the next publisher is another space book. It is, I think Lawrence King. I want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, Lawrence King. Also, I know I'm like backtracking here, but I forgot to say this. So Wide-Eyed actually is underneath this other larger publisher called, it's called Quarto. And Quarto actually has a lot of publishers underneath it because, so a lot in the beginning when I was searching for Wide-Eye books, it was really difficult because they were mostly sold under Quarto. And then I forgot what other publishers we have, but there are some other ones that are under Quarto, but they are Wide-Eyed, and then so you could find them either way. Quarto has a lot of cool books too. a lot of cool ones about Wide-Eyed, and then some other publishers. So if you search Quarto, Quarto, or you search by Wide-Eyed, both vice versa, you can find good books. I'm sorry, I wanted to include that because I forgot to say it. Most of these publishers are just like one name, but that one is under Quarto. Okay, so this is A Cat's Guide to the Night Sky. And like, oh yeah, I was supposed to make sure, like I'm like rambling here. I wanted to make sure that I was saying it right. Yeah, Lawrence King Publishing, and it has a K. And so yeah, so this one, even though it's another space book, I was like, should I include another space book? But I had to because I just love this book. And again, it's a very good option if you're going to do a space unit, if you like illustrated books. And it's beautiful. And I think it has like also like a perfect amount of information. You know, shooting stars, lunar eclipse, the moon, and the illustrations are really pretty. To do this, to get through it all for one unit on space. And honestly, I don't know which one I like better from this one and the last one. I love them both. I love this little section. It's like become a stargazer, and it's like a little layout, so cute. And you know, I just love it. So that's my other favorite publisher, Lawrence King. And then my next favorite publisher is Chronicle. So Chronicle is known for picture books. Well, I know them for picture books. And like I said, a lot of these publishers, if like most of them, if not all of them, do adult books also. But I'm just talking about the kids' books. And Chronicle does, I know they do books for adults too, but they do a lot of, they do a lot of picture books. But they also do really cool nonfiction books. And this is my favorite one that we own by Chronicle, and this is Seeing Science, an Illustrated Guide to the Wonders of the Universe by Iris Gottlieb. I'm probably not saying that correctly, but okay. So this one, like, I literally did use as a spine. I don't remember if that was like first or second grade. I don't remember, but like I love it. It has like, it's really artsy. I love it. Like it has, okay, so it's like life science, earth science, and then physical science. And what I love about it is like it's all by her. Like she wrote and illustrated this, and it's just really interesting. I don't even know if this is made for kids. Like anyway, so it's like just really interesting. It's like, what is alive? The 7 criteria for living beings. And it's just like her illustrations they're very simple, and they're very interesting. Like here's just a 2-page spread on ants, animal collectives, sound. It's just like a bunch of random things inside those collections of science. You know, Owls of North America. Her illustrations are gorgeous. Pigeons. And then it's kind of like interesting, like quirky things too. Like pigeons, they're not so bad. Like I like her like sense of humor, or just like how she like it's like ferns introvert to the forest floor. So it's just like quirky. Like it's, but this is just, I think it was very fun for my daughter because it made science really fun. Beautiful. Okay. So my 9th book by my 9th favorite publisher is, of course, Usborne. So Usborne really specializes in children's books. I don't even know if they do make any adult books. If they do, I'm not sure. So I'm sure everyone's familiar with Usborne, and so this is pretty much my favorites. This is like a series of mine that's a favorite about Usborne, which is the Lift a Flap. And this is my favorite one, which is the periodic table that we own. And yeah, so these are very short, but again, they have like a really good amount of information. I think you can use these as spines also. Well, I do personally. I think it has like a perfect amount of information where you can, study the periodic table and it's not overwhelming. So, and yeah, so, and these, like it's only like 1, 2, oh, it says the pages on here. So it's like technically 16 pages, but I think it's like, it has like the lift the flap, so it just feels like it's bigger. And I think it's a really good amount of information, especially for elementary age, you know, even middle school, I think. I don't. So, yeah. So, that's my 9th favorite publisher. I would also suggest, if you're interested in finding more books, follow these publishers if they have an Instagram. And then you can get all their, like, find the books that they post. I do that. I follow all my favorite publishers on Instagram. And then also, if you go on their websites, you can see, like, just all of their catalog. And then for their older books, you can find a lot of their older books, of course, on Amazon, eBay, you know, and used bookstores. And then a lot of times when I go on, like, used or any bookseller's site, especially, like, used books, I will sometimes just search Usborne, Wide-Eyed, because I know I'm getting a quality book that, in my opinion, is a good quality. And, like, if I'm looking for a certain subject, that's just one way I search for books. So, yeah. And then that was 9. And like I said, I tried to pick 10. I just couldn't do it. So what I did for my 10th is a variety that all kind of fits in different categories. But yet I couldn't pick a 10th publisher because though I only had 9 favorite publishers. And those are just ones I showed you guys. And then these are, I like these publishers too. But I just decided to show these as one big 10th category, okay? So these are like resources that I like to use as what I'm going to call add-ons. So those were all the books and publishers that I consider your main book, your spine, like books to use as like really big fat resources. But then now I'm going to show you guys more supplemental things, which I'm calling like a big fat number 10. Okay, so this one, everybody's heard of these, I'm sure. If not, they're really good. This is the Who HQ. They have 1 million of these. Like, literally, there's probably over, I don't know how many there are, at least like hundreds. This is just Where is the Solar System, of course. They have them on so many different subjects, you know, science, history, geography. This one has a cool little fold out. And these are books that I usually assign to my daughter to read on her own. So when we were in our space unit, she just read this on her own, and then I usually have her do like a book report on it. So that's the Who HQ is the name. And then they have different publishers. Like this one's published by Penguin. That's why I said I didn't want to name a 10th publisher, because they're just all, and then some of the Who HQs are by a different publisher, but still, it's the name of the series. And then this, again, the name of the series is Horrible Science. And this is Shocking Electricity. This publisher is Scholastic, which is still a good resource, but yet I just wanted to name this as a series. So these are really fun. It's like kind of comic bookish. You know, they have like a lot of the illustrations. These also I have my daughter read on her own, just for fun. And then say we're studying electricity, I'll have her just read this and she'll read it, and that way she can add on to her knowledge. So yeah, I really like these. They also have horrible histories. And this one, another series, Science Comics. So this is actually published by, this is First Second Publishing, but I'm not sure if they have other ones published by different publishers. That's why I didn't want to focus on the publisher. So this one's like the series, Science Comics. Again, these are very popular with like a lot of kids, not just, these are always checked out at my library. And it's a quick way for your child to read and, you know, expand their knowledge on a specific subject. So when we did our dinosaur unit, my daughter read this on her own. Yeah, and she really likes these. And she was able to learn more about dinosaurs. They have some really cool graphics too. Like this is really nice. And then most of it's just like the comic book style. And then the beginning for this one, they have like some information on the dinosaurs. So I like that. So yeah, so that's my 3rd series. And then this one is not really nonfiction, of course, but it's fiction chapter book set based on a scientific character. It's Ada Lace, based on, you know, the scientist Ada Lovelace. And let's see. And my daughter read in probably like 1st grade, but I wanted to show them in case, you know, I have a 4th grade, but in case you have you're watching for a younger age group. And these are I just let her read these in 1st grade. I didn't like do them specific to the subject. I just thought it'd be nice for her to read some fiction, you know, with science in mind. So it's just different things about pertaining to science. And so yeah, so this is a fun idea if you want your child to just get some reading in. Oh yeah, sorry, I want to show you again the font and stuff. So like I said, this is like, I don't go by age group. Like if my daughter she'll still read chapter books, even though she's still, she's reading YA and novels in 4th grade. She's still, and mostly middle grade, but she still will read a chapter book if she wants to. Like she still likes the Magic Tree House and things like that. So I don't care about the age group, but if you just want to see, it technically would be like, chapter book, bigger font, has some illustrations in it. Okay. So anyway, and she is a 3rd grader, the protagonist, if you want to call her that. I don't. Oh, and I just wanted to mention there's another series that we actually owned when my daughter was younger. It's called Zoe and Sassafras. I don't have it with me because I don't know. I think we donated it or sold it when we moved a few years ago. But Zoe and Sassafras, those are really good. And my daughter really liked them. And they really remind me of the Ada Lace. It's also about a little girl involving science and things she likes to do with science. I'll link it if I can find. I'll link it from Amazon, like the first books, in case you guys, so you don't have to write it down. But I don't have a physical copy with me, but I'll link it. Okay. And then another resource I have for science is, so the publisher would be The Thinking Tree. And this is all about endangered species science and research study guide. So The Thinking Tree makes a lot of different subjects, a lot of these different little guides for different subjects. So this I specifically bought again for 4th grade. We honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have her do this at the end of 4th grade, like maybe even into the summer, because we just don't have enough time to dedicate to it during our homeschool. We started it during homeschool, so it has like endangered animals, and then you draw and write different things about them. So it takes a lot of time because you have to do research and stuff like that. Like you have to get out books. Like, see, we didn't do this section because we didn't really have a lot of books on sea turtles. So this is stuff she'll have to probably look on the internet, or we'll have to specifically check out books from the library on sea turtles. And I wasn't prepared for that for 4th grade because I have the animal books I purchased for the curriculum, but you know what I mean? So it's I decided, you know what? It'll be better to just do this after we finish the curriculum. That way she can dedicate her time to it and doing the research on each animal and not rushing it. But it has, sorry, I skipped over the table of contents. It has all these animals that are endangered. And so it's a good way for kids to learn about why they're endangered. You can watch a documentary about it if you can find one, where in the world that they live. And I do like these. I've bought quite a few of them, and I really thought it'd be valuable to include them, in this video, because I do think they're a good resource, especially if your child likes to do stuff like this. This journal style type of learning. Okay. And then another one of my favorite publishers, but like I said, I'm including it in the big number 10, is National Geographic and National Geographic Kids. A lot of the National Geographic, books, of course, are photography based, if not all of them, because, that's their thing. You grow up watching National Geographic documentaries and still do. So all of their books are like that style. So we don't use them a lot for spines or things like that, but they're really good for, in my opinion, for my favorites, for supplements like these sticker books and things like that. So this is National Geographic Kids Reptiles and Amphibians sticker book. This is just an example. This isn't my favorite sticker book by them of all time. We've done so many of these, but I just wanted to include them as a resource. So this is just, one that we're working on now for 4th grade. And I just wanted to show them. I'm trying to just show everything that you can use as an option to teach science, which are workbooks, fictional based on science, graphic novels, like I said, sticker books, and then of course the nonfiction books, and then and then so the last thing I have is, of course, a picture book biography. So this again, this is The Tree Lady. I'll say the publisher just for fun, but this isn't my top 10 publishers. Not that they aren't good, but they publish a lot of fiction and things like that. And the ones I want to focus on in this video was nonfiction. But this is Simon and Schuster, which is a very huge publisher. Kids, this is a kids. And so this is, of course, a picture book biography. And picture book biographies are one of my favorite ways to add on to our science curriculum. We own a lot of them. This is one of my favorite ones. I think it has a really pretty cover. And it's the Tree Lady. So we had this one when we did our unit on trees, and it's based on Kate Sessions, who is a, I guess, biologist. Yeah, I mean, she's, so yeah, Kate Sessions worked with the city parks and different things with trees. So yeah, so it was a nice way to learn about her and, you know, the things she did. Yeah, she graduated from the University of California with a degree in science. So these are good ways to teach your kids about different degrees and areas of study that other people did that they could do if you're interested in that, or even if you don't get a degree, just, you know, areas of subjects that they might be interested in, which this one is trees. So yeah, so I really like picture book biographies as another way to add on for science. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing and liking. Bye.